Are you ready? So we're going to talk about readiness today. Being ready. Readiness is like three parts willingness and one part inspiration. To think about the being ready for a change, being ready for a change for the better. We live in the physical world in these things that we call bodies that we believe keep us separate from everyone else. And there are we've created the body like it's a fence that keeps us from having to get too close to anyone, and it's our little barrier that we've put up. Well, this is the world that we have. This is the world that we live in, the physical world. And even though we have a lot of higher ideas about the ultimate reality of spirit, in which there are no bodies, but that we are all just one thing, which is as in the meditation, the love of God. Here in the world, we have bodies. We decide, hey, look, don't complain to me. You decided to have one, you got one. That's it. But what we're doing is we are moving in our perception day by day. Well, at least this is what we want to do. We want to move in our perception to the place where we could actually accept that we are the love of God. Moving it to that we actually are not bodies. We start with the idea that we are more than a body. So just go with me on this. At least allow that you are more than your body. And what's happening through spiritual practice is we become more and more aware of how much more than a body we are. And we work with these ideas consistently here every Sunday, and we did through the week and the other various things that we do here. But the world we see is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if we are suffering, if we are feeling pain, if we are angry, if we are feeling lack, if we think we don't have enough, or that if we're worried that what we do have will be taken away from us, that is totally our own thinking. That is our own thinking. And then the world reflects that thinking back to us as what we call the realities of living. Now, it's all well and good to try to have this, to have an idea in our mind that there's something more and better than this, that ultimately what we want to do is this place where we want to go, this state of consciousness that we want to enter into. We could call it the kingdom of heaven. You could call it, there's a number of terms that describe it. But the fact is, every day we are experiencing the world right here in these bodies. Things are happening. And what I want to suggest today is that we can change the things that we really don't want. Because, see, the ultimate reality, the reality of spirit is changeless. The ultimate reality of God is changeless. That is, so, although nice to contemplate and it's good to have a goal to get there, the reality of the world is changing all the time. It's the nature of it. Because what the world is it's a classroom where there are various lessons that we're supposed to learn that will change us to the place where we can actually change us to the place where we go back to where we were to begin with. Now, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying now. It's okay. It's okay with me. I don't even want to try to change your mind. I'm just going to present the ideas. But here are some things that everybody can kind of agree with, that we go through this life. Sometimes it seems like we have good days and we have bad days, and good things come to us and bad things come to us, and we have some grand experiences, and then we have some experiences that are less than that. And this is we don't have to deny these things. When have the right use of denial. when our life is in shambles because of various addictive practices or any other circumstances like that, it really doesn't help to deny that that's what's going on. We recognize that that's what's going on, but what we want to deny is, we want to deny the fact that we have to stay in that place. That's how to use the power of denial, not to act like it didn't happen. So when things occur, I can say when something occurs and I feel bad about it, either I feel threatened or I feel angry or I feel hurt or whatever. I don't want to say, well, that wasn't real, so I'm just going to push it away. The fact is, in spirit, it wasn't real. Nothing really happened in spirit, but I'm living here in the world. So something did happen. Something did happen, and there's no reason for me to deny that I have this bad feeling. But what I can do is I can say, I'm in charge of my own thinking. I'm in charge of how I feel. So I'm going to change my mind concerning this thing. I'm not going to deny that it happened, but what I'm going to deny is that it has any power over me, because I'm going to decide how I'm going to live. And so I want to give you some things for the week, and these are the lessons that are on the website. And by the way, everything's back in order, so your bulletin matches up to the dates. Everything is, yes, it's amazing how that happens. So inspiration comes to us if we're paying attention. Inspiration comes to us from everywhere. But I want you to think about another thing. I want you to think about you being the inspiration. I want to think about, just for a second, humor me. Say it to yourself right now. I am inspiring. Oh, I'm inspiring. It almost was hard to say it. I mean, the first time I started to think about this idea, it seems egotistical. It seems inappropriate to say such a thing. But this is what I'm going to suggest today is that you share your ideas freely, because each one of us in this world, we each have different pieces of that common good. We each have different pieces, and so the good ideas that are in us, the good qualities that are in us, it's our job to share them with others. So to share our ideas freely, to allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to open our mouth and share an idea with someone, to share an inspiration that comes into our, and as we do it, we actually become more trusting. And as we become more trusting, it's amazing what happens. We seem to be more trustworthy, and people begin to share more openly with us. We share our feelings, our ideas openly. Intimacy grows stronger, and this is always good for us in our perception, is to have the intimacy that teaches us that the truth is we are connected. And so we can start to feel at ease with people, that we don't have to be guarded. It's, I feel this idea of intimacy and trust, I feel like it's more important for me to trust and to allow myself to be open and perhaps vulnerable and take a risk on being hurt. The chances that I'm going to be hurt are really a lot smaller than I want to believe. And for me, the rewards are much greater to be able to be open and trusting all the time, it's for the small percentage of times that things go wrong with that, I've just as soon be trusting. I just as soon be open, and it seems as if as we release the fear more and more, any bad consequences come less and less. So to think about it, whether I'm at home or whether I'm at school, whether I'm in the workplace, we all have a part to play. Wherever we're at, we have a part to play. We have a contribution to make. And so, and to remember that great things begin with a single idea. And then the idea that we share with someone, they've got a little bit of a different perspective and they add a little bit of something onto it. We have to be open to that too, because we have to be open to having our idea amended a little bit if we're gonna share it. So to think that our ideas are not good enough or that they will not be well received keeps us from exercising our creative powers. It really is up to us to give what is ours to give in every situation. Now, we want to be discreet about it. We don't want to be overbearing. We don't want to just, it's not about just going and like just opening up the storm gates and letting everything like come out all at once and overpowering people with our ideas. The practice is to share the idea and then be quiet and listen for what comes back. And we can do what, and if what comes back is contrary to what we think, and we think it kind of like ruins our idea, we don't even have to say that. We can just say what Stephen Covey was, Wayne Dyer was recommending. He says, this is what you always do when you disagree with someone and you don't want to be disagreeable, is you say, you might be right. You might be right. And then I know this is really hard, but then you say, tell me more about that. And after they tell you more, then there may be an opportunity to say, well, you know what? I never thought about it that way. But listen, have you ever thought about it this way? See, this is very quiet. You're having a conversation. Nobody's arguing. But maybe it's not even appropriate. Maybe you just listen to what they've got to say and that's it. We're just quiet. We're just listening. We're observing. We shared our idea. That's all we needed to do. We shared it. Now we can go on and do whatever needs to be done. So most of the time, even though we may not realize it, we know more than we give ourselves credit for. If we're sitting in intuition. Now I will say this, that if we're operating totally out of ego, we're operating, in that very forceful part of our personality, we really think we know more than we do. But when we are quiet and operating out of intuition and allowing the thoughts in our minds to be filtered through our hearts, then there's wisdom. Wisdom occurs and comes out easily. And many times we will share something with someone and we'll wonder after we share it where that came from. How did I? And then later they'll come back to us and they'll say, when you told me this thing or that thing, that really helped me. And then you go, I don't even remember saying that. Because Spirit is moving through us when we get quiet and we allow these things to happen. I want to be consciously evolving in the world. Even though I know, as I said before, that at that higher reality of Spirit, we already are, all of us already are all that there is. All of the potential that we may have here in this world is realized in Spirit. But in this world, it is not realized until we do something about it. So I want to be consciously evolving. What I would like to do is to take the talents and the abilities that I have and practice them, give them, share them, practice, hone those skills to be better, and also to look at the weaknesses that I have and do whatever I can by my own actions, by my own thinking, to make them into strengths, to make them, or at least to release them, at least to let them go. So to have this conscious idea that yes, I see that these shortcomings of personality are causing me pain in my life, and that they tend to cause pain in the lives of others when I let them loose. What I want to do is I want to release those things. And this is what the readiness is really. Now, part of this talk today is really about the sixth step in the recovery programs, is this idea of being entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. So these defects of character, this is the other thing to remember, is that to others they may look defective, but actually, to us, they're like little helpers. They think they're helping these things, these personality quirks that we have. You can almost see them as the seven dwarves, and they think, but they're misshapen. They're twisted out of proportion, and they think they're helping. They think they're doing their job. So one of the things about being ready to let them go is to be able to bless them because they were doing their job, right? They've been doing their job, but now we're not going to be self-centered anymore. Now we're thinking about being connected to the rest of life. We don't need these little selfish creatures in us, and we can release them and bless them. And actually what ends up happening is that these things grow up into character assets. They grow up into what we could call good character when we allow them to, when we have this readiness to allow Spirit to work within us. And so these things, I mean, there'll be another time, maybe next week we'll talk about what they actually are, but they hold us back and they keep us suffering, and then what we want to do when we're suffering is we want to share the suffering with others. And so we're difficult people. We're difficult to live with in those situations. And some of us are very quiet about it. Some of us are very quiet about it and we just suffer silently on our own. But even that, we're cheating other people out of knowing us. So to be conscious about evolving, to understand this, there's this one thing, if I understand that I'm related to all creation, I'm related to all creation, and then to establish this mindset of being in right relation to the universe. Thinking about that God is continuing to create. This is like God is extending continually, always extending, and we, made in image and likeness of God, we have the capability to do that, and we are. We are, day by day, hour by hour, moment by moment, we are creating our lives. And this is so important for us to understand, that it's not being done to us. Nobody out there is doing stuff to us that makes our life what it is. We are creating it. We are constructing our lives thought by thought, belief by belief, feeling by feeling, action by action. We build the life that we experience. And this is a wonderful thing, because to finally understand it, because then we get to stop blaming others, stop blaming situations, and take responsibility for our lives and move forward. Again, I'm not going to go into some Pollyanna idea that bad things don't happen, because they do. Unfortunate things happen. Things happen where we think, well, I didn't have anything to do with that, so I'm not responsible for that. It just happened. It was chance. Well, yeah, okay. We may have more to do with it than we know, actually, on a conscious level, but that doesn't even matter, even if we had nothing to do with it. What we have to do is right now. What are we going to do with it right now? Rather than sit in feeling bad for ourselves, and let's move forward. Let's move out of it. So being in right relation to the universe is to say that we're a part of it. This is like such a comforting idea because all my life, for years, I felt like I was not a part of anything. I felt apart from. And I try, and some of us don't have quite that experience, but many of us have had the experience of feeling totally alienated no matter where you go. You feel isolated, unique, cut off. And to actually get that idea in mind that I'm a part of creation. I'm a part of, not just a part of it, I am an intelligent, think about this, I'm an intelligent cog in the machine of the universe. That I'm deciding what my part, how I turn, what I produce. And I'm part of this overall thing. And without you, creation is not complete. So what that does is it establish, and it's in total humility to know that we're all of us a part of God. And part of this humility is we get the understanding of that we are equal, that we are all of equal value. Now, this is an idea that is maybe hard. Some of us have a hard time accepting the fact that we are equal because we feel we are less than. Some of us have a hard time accepting the idea that we are equal because sometimes we feel like we are greater than. But the fact is that we're all equal. We're all of equal value. Now, temporarily, We all have different attributes, and we may have some assets that other people don't have, but they have assets that we don't have. And so temporarily, we all seem to have a mix of talents and abilities and possessions, money, whatever, but it's just temporary. It's just temporary. And but the fact is that we are all of equal value regardless of those details. And so now, if I see myself as, if I get to that point where I can see myself as being equal, I know this just makes logical sense, but sometimes it doesn't connect. That means that everybody else is equal too. Even those that I have opinions about. People that aren't acting the way that I think they ought to act. People that are, and we get propagandas coming to us all the time about people that we want to see as our enemies, that somehow they are not understandable, that they are the alien other, and it's the manipulation that has been used by people in power for a long time to keep us at odds. But the fact of the matter is, we're all of equal value. And so what I was thinking about is that our lives, our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions may seem very small when we compare that to the vastness of the universe. And that's fine to get things in that kind of relationship on one hand. But we should understand that they are no less wonderful and no less a part of the beauty of creation. So if I say that without you, creation is not complete, I'm saying without you, God is not complete. And so get that in relation in your mind. What we're actually, so here, if I'm holding myself apart, if in my mind I'm thinking that I am not a part